My girlfriend thought it would be hilarious to stick a "will work for food" sign on my back during our big family cookout. I laughed it off in the moment, gave a little shrug, and then quietly slipped away from the party. The next morning, she woke up to the low rumble of a moving truck idling in front of the house. For the past 6 months, my life has been a deliberate teardown followed by a careful rebuild. I was let go from a senior supply chain manager role I'd held for 15 solid years. It paid well, came with great benefits, but the company restructured and my name was on the list. Instead of rushing back into another corporate cage, I decided to take the leap and back myself. I used part of my severance package to launch my own logistics consulting business, running everything out of the spare bedroom I turned into an office. The work is brutal, the days are endless, and the money coming in right now is a tiny fraction of my old paycheck. I knew the road would be rough, but I believed in what I was creating. My girlfriend of 4 years, Sarah, did not share that belief. She had grown very attached to the lifestyle my previous salary made possible: the upscale restaurants, spontaneous weekend getaways, the carefree spending. My new existence as a bootstrapped entrepreneur wasn't nearly as shiny. Her encouragement quickly turned into a low-boiling resentment that leaked out in snide remarks and jokes. She began calling my company "your little hobby," and would casually ask when I planned to get a real job again. I swallowed it week after week, telling myself she was just anxious about the uncertainty, that she'd come around once things stabilized. I kept my head down, pulled 16-hour days, and poured every ounce of myself into making the business work. I thought if I could just prove it was viable, she'd finally see it. This year, the annual family barbecue, a tradition older than most of my nieces and nephews, was at my place. It's a huge gathering. Parents, siblings, in-laws, kids running everywhere. I love hosting it. There's something deeply satisfying about opening my home and giving everyone a place to gather. I spent all morning scrubbing the patio, trimming the yard, and getting the smoker fired up for brisket. Sarah was acting odd from the minute she woke up. Overly affectionate one minute, almost buzzing with mischief the next. I should have recognized the red flag. The party started around 2. I was stationed at the grill, flipping burgers, joking with my dad, finally relaxed for the first time in months. I was exactly where I wanted to be, surrounded by people who actually cared about me. Or so I believed. While I had my back to the crowd, focused on not charring 20 pounds of meat, Sarah snuck up behind me. I felt her tape something to my shirt. I assumed it was one of those cheesy "kiss the cook" signs. I heard her friends snickering and just rolled my eyes with a grin, kept cooking. For the next hour, I walked around my own backyard completely clueless, handing out drinks, tossing a football with the kids, hugging my mom, while people shot me strange glances and whispered behind hands. I thought they were just happy to see me doing okay. Then my 7-year-old nephew Leo tugged on my shorts, brow furrowed in innocent confusion. "Uncle Tom, what does unemployed mean?" he asked, the little voice that always melts me. I went still. My brother appeared at my side in seconds, face like thunder, and yanked whatever was on my back clean off. He turned the cardboard toward me. Big black marker letters on a sign designed to look like something you'd see on a highway off-ramp. "Will work for food. Unemployed and desperate. Please help. My girlfriend pays for everything." The air left my lungs. It wasn't a prank. It was a public execution of my dignity, timed for maximum audience, delivered by the person who was supposed to have my back. Before I could even process it, my sister rushed over, phone in hand, eyes wide with secondhand mortification. She showed me Sarah's freshly posted story, a photo of me at the grill, sign clearly visible, captioned, "Putting the future hubby to work today, face with tears of joy, gotta earn your keep. Loving the unemployed life, winking face, #charity case." I looked across the lawn. Sarah was doubled over laughing with her friends. She caught my eye and shot me a wink, like we were in on the same hilarious gag. In that single second, 4 years of history turned to ash. Every excuse I'd ever made for her curdled into ice. But I didn't lose my temper. I didn't give her the screaming match she was clearly fishing for, the one that would let her paint me as unhinged and herself as the victim. Instead, I forced a chuckle, loud enough for nearby family to hear. "Man, she's got a dark sense of humor. Huh? Not my style, but okay." I thanked my brother, patted a few backs, and kept hosting like nothing happened. I played cornhole with the kids. I refilled my mom's wine. I was the unruffled host. Sarah actually looked annoyed that I didn't explode. But inside my head a switch had flipped, cold, calm, and irreversible. Around 6 I told my sister I felt a migraine coming on and was going to lie down for a bit. I asked everyone to stay, enjoy the pool, eat the rest of the food. I slipped out the side gate, got in my truck, and drove 20 minutes to a bland roadside hotel. From that quiet room, I made one phone call to a moving company that advertises same-day and overnight jobs. I explained I needed a crew at the house at 8 a.m. sharp to pack and remove one person's belongings. Sarah assumed I was sulking in the guest room, and that tomorrow we'd have a blowout fight. I'd apologize for being sensitive, and life would slide back to normal with her little digs and my quiet endurance. She had no clue I wasn't even in the house anymore. The next morning I sat in my truck half a block away at 7:45, drinking terrible gas station coffee, watching the big box truck pull up exactly on time. I met the crew leader, a no-nonsense guy named Frank, shook his hand, and let us in with my key while Sarah slept. I handed Frank a printed, color-coded inventory. Every piece of women's clothing and shoes in the master closet, everything in her bathroom drawer, the entire home office she'd claimed in the second bedroom, and the boxes in the garage marked with her name. I wanted zero room for accusations later. They started quietly in the office. 20 minutes later, the soft thud of boxes and the rip of tape finally woke her. I was leaning against the kitchen island when she stumbled out in one of my old college shirts, hair wild, eyes squinting. She saw two strangers bubble-wrapping her monitor and stopped dead. "Tom, what the hell is this? Who are these people?" I took a slow sip of coffee. "Movers, Sarah. I hired them. You're moving out today." Her voice shot up 2 octaves. "Moving out? Are you serious right now?" "Over one dumb joke." "That wasn't a joke," I said, voice low and even. "That was a public declaration of what you actually think of me." Message received. People you love don't use them as punchlines for strangers. They definitely don't do it in front of family. So I'm treating you like the roommate you just told everyone I am. I turned my phone and showed her the screenshot of her story, the photo, the caption, the laughing emojis from her friends. "This isn't something you fix with 'sorry, babe.' We're done." The tears started, but they weren't remorse. They were pure panic at losing her meal ticket. "You can't just throw me out. Half this stuff is mine. We built a life." "Let's be crystal clear," I said, stepping closer. "You didn't build anything. You moved into a fully paid-off house I bought 2 years before I met you. You have never once contributed to the mortgage, insurance, taxes, or utilities in 4 years. You may take every single thing you personally purchased. The movers have the list." Her mouth opened and closed like a fish. "My car, the couch, the TV. My car, my couch, my TV." I corrected softly. "I was at the bank at opening this morning. You've been removed from the joint account. The credit card you've been using is canceled, effective immediately. The financial arrangement you found so amusing yesterday has ended." She collapsed onto the arm of the sofa and made a sound somewhere between a sob and a wail. I felt absolutely nothing. No anger, no guilt, just calm finality. The crew kept working around the soap opera like professionals. It took them under 2 hours to load everything. While they worked, Sarah paced the patio making frantic hushed calls. First to the friends who'd laughed hardest at her prank, none offered a couch. And finally, with visible dread, to her parents. When the truck was sealed, Frank walked up with his clipboard. "Got an address, sir. Northwood, her parents' place." I stepped onto the porch where Sarah sat hunched on the steps. I set a small box with her toothbrush, makeup, and phone charger beside her. "Truck's ready. They'll unload at whatever address you give them within 50 miles. I suggest you start deciding." She looked up, mascara streaking. "You're really throwing away 4 years over one stupid prank." "You threw it away," I said. "You just didn't notice until the trash truck showed up." I watched the moving truck disappear down the street. Then Sarah standing alone on the sidewalk waiting for her mom and dad to make the 40-minute drive to rescue their 30-year-old daughter. I walked back inside, shut the door, and for the first time in years the house felt like it mine again. Final update, 3 months later. The first thing I noticed was the silence. No more Sarah's Spotify playlists blasting, no more one-sided phone calls on speaker, no more reality shows I never cared about. Just the low hum of the fridge and my own breathing. It was peaceful in a way I hadn't known I was missing. My family called within hours of the barbecue fallout. Mom was scared I'd been impulsive, Dad was quietly livid on my behalf. I invited them over, laid out the whole timeline, not just the sign, but the slow drip of disrespect for a year. When Mom saw the charity case caption, her worry flipped to protective rage. They got it. They didn't see revenge. They saw a man finally enforcing a boundary. Sarah tried the social media victim route, vague posts about toxic exes and crazy men. It flopped spectacularly. Too many people had seen the stunt with their own eyes. The narrative that spread was simple. Woman publicly shamed her struggling partner, shocked when he left. A week later, a lawyer letter arrived demanding half the furniture, emotional distress damages, and that I keep paying her car note. My attorney mailed back the house deed dated years before I met her, receipts for every stick of furniture, for years of bank statements showing exactly who paid for what, plus a neat $9,800 itemized bill for everything she'd put on my card in the last 12 months. And, of course, copies of her social media post. We offered to see her in court and file counterclaims for defamation and the debt. The lawyer went silent. Financially, her world imploded without my income propping it up. She couldn't make the car payment, so I gave her two choices: refinance in her name or I sell it. No bank would touch her credit, so I sold it, paid off the loan, and mailed her a check for $987. She cashed it the same day. Last I heard, she's living in her childhood bedroom, working a customer service job, and her influencer dreams are on life support. The friends who egged her on vanished the moment the bottomless brunch budget dried up. Real humiliation, it turns out, isn't very funny when it's yours. But the best part of this story isn't her fall, it's my rise. That layoff I thought would break me actually freed me. Without the constant emotional and financial bleed of that relationship, I threw every waking hour into the business. 2 months ago, I signed my first big corporate client, a full supply chain redesign worth more than my old annual salary. Last month, I landed another. My little hobby is now a real company with payroll and a waiting list. I hired my first employee last week. I threw another cookout a few days ago, smaller this time, just family and a couple close friends to celebrate the new contracts. Same backyard, same grill, different t-shirt, zero signs taped to my back. While I flipped steaks, my dad came over, watched me for a quiet minute, then rested a hand on my shoulder. "You know, son," he said, "I haven't seen you this light in years. Welcome home." He was right. I'd been gone a long time, diminished, walking on eggshells, shrinking to keep the peace. That cruel cardboard sign didn't break me. It woke me up. Sarah thought she was announcing to the world that I was worthless. In reality, she hung a neon sign that read, "Time to go." And for that clarity, strange as it sounds, I'm almost grateful.